Right, the local elections are coming up. You have 2 weeks now to apply for free photo ID in order to vote in those local elections. And if you don't have it, they'll stop you from being able to vote. They'll remove your human right to vote. Apparently, a quarter of all people preparing to vote in next month's elections still don't realise they'll need such an ID in order to do so. I can't spell out enough how important it is you do something about this right now if you don't have photo ID, and ensure the ID you have is acceptable, because let's make no bones about it, the Tories have introduced these measures to suppress votes, not eliminate voter fraud, which amounted to virtually nothing anyway. It's a hard enough job to get people out to vote at all, especially in local elections, let alone them trying to do so more than once. There's a link on the Electoral Commission website in order to obtain the free ID, the Voter Authority Certificate. So please visit. I've attached a link straight to it. So do please share this with people and get the word out about doing that now. Also, if you think you already have ID, check it's valid. As I said, the Tories are making voter fraud a bigger issue, not a lesser one, than its already negligible status. And one such way they're rigging things in their own favour, of course, but they wouldn't be doing this otherwise, is to disenfranchise certain demographics that do not typically vote for them. For example, senior citizens' Oyster cards are valid, but student Oyster cards are not. It's blatant. Not enough effort has gone into informing more people. It is denying people the right to vote on the basis of the flimsiest of evidence, but that's not the half of it when introducing such ID requirements. Producing a photo ID clearly is only going to be necessary if you yourself show up to cast your own vote. What if you ask someone else to cast your vote for you? Voting by proxy, as it is called. The person you appoint to vote for you doesn't need to produce ID on your behalf. How can they? There's also no minimum requirement on how many people someone can cast a vote on behalf of either. And frankly, how can you guarantee they'll cast your vote how you want to anyway? If you have, for example, done a bit of door knocking in the past, as I have, and have the door answered by the lady of the house or a young adult, I think this does vary a bit from one demographic to another. But when you turn up and say, I would like to talk to you about, for example, pertinent right now, the local elections, how often do they say, I'll just go and get my dad, or I'll just go and get my husband? I'm not trying to be sexist here. This happens, even in this day and age. How many of these heads of household, let's try and be a bit more PC about it, call them heads of household, then go on and vote by proxy on behalf of the rest of their family, or indeed would be more likely to going forwards now if the right ID isn't possessed by certain members of their family? You can see why proxy voting might increase, can't you? An alternative to that, of course, is to apply to vote by post. Good old postal voting, always accused of being fraudulent, isn't it? Always accused of being rigged. What does voter ID do to resolve that then, Damo? Sweet Fanny Adams is the answer. You need no ID to apply for a postal ballot. You can imagine more people will be doing just that as well, and the scope for cheating here is huge, but not by individuals, but by political parties. Local Conservative associations, for example, they are the main example, I have to say as well, that I've seen, have up and down the country as being encouraging people to apply for postal ballots, yet not return their applications to the address given on them. For such votes, their local council should be handed for consideration as they should, but returning them to their party instead, or taking them off their hands at the doorstep, allegedly so they can kindly pass them on to be processed. There's no evidence whatsoever that such ballots going via the Tories will be processed legally. There's every reason to suspect that rancid party will only pass on ballots applied for from Tory-supporting demographics. There's nothing stopping them filtering applications coming their way, and that is a point the Electoral Commission itself has raised. Increased postal ballot applications, more of which will be passed on by the Tory party or via the Tory party, can only ever be seen as making the entire electoral process less secure than before voter ID came in, driving more people to choose to vote another way than turning up to vote in person. There's nothing illegal in collecting postal vote applications, it has to be said, on behalf of people by various parties. But the Tories actively encouraging it should raise suspicions, because they don't do anything if it's not in their own interest. If the Electoral Commission cannot guarantee the applications will be passed on, then quite simply parties should be stopped from collecting applications. Hasn't happened. Doesn't appear that it will happen either. It's the Tories doing the vote rigging, not ordinary voters here. Now, you might have listened to this so far and you might be thinking, Damo, give it a chance. I know for a fact that Doris down at number 35 is still voting on behalf of her dead husband or some such. But this whole voter ID shebang isn't new, because they've had this in place in Northern Ireland for the last 20 years. It's simply being rolled out to the rest of the UK now. You know, if you pay even just a cursory glance at Northern Irish politics, and you wonder why they keep electing such backwards regressive parties such as DUP, Look at the aforementioned reasons, because all of it has been recorded as happening in Northern Ireland for years. All the exploitation of proxy votes and postal ballots that could be happening here, there's fears that it will be happening here, have been happening there for decades. The problems with the system highlighted above have remained problems in Northern Ireland and will become problems here because they are issues that have been left continuously unaddressed because they suit the politicians that are keeping themselves in power as a result of it. Despite all of that, the DUP's grasp on power has started to slip as much as their grasp on reality has. But that's taken longer than perhaps it otherwise would have done if these had been properly free and fair. And when change is desperately needed to get this country back on its feet, delaying that by those with vested interests in maintaining the status quo, fixing things in their favour, is the last thing we need. Get photo ID, apply for your postal ballot by all means, but send it in yourself by post, not via a door knocker. And if you're going to vote by proxy, for goodness sake, make sure it's somebody acting on your behalf you trust, who you know will vote as you wish. Above all, though, if you've got local elections in your area, please just cast your vote somehow, somewhere. It's bad enough the Tories wish to deny it to so many without wasting it if you've got it. Even if you do, just go down there and spoil your ballot. At least it gets counted. Thanks for watching. If you appreciated this video, please do hit like and subscribe, leave a comment and hit the notification bell too so you don't miss the next one. Also look out for me on social media and other interesting stuff by clicking on the Linktree link in the comments below, and I will see you next time. Cheers, folks.